Om Gurubhyo Namah. Om Ganapate Namah. Om Sri Vidyadevi Namah. This is Jitesh Satyan doing this video on Mooladhara Vidya with Chakras and Kundalini for Sri Vidya Tantram WhatsApp group. In the previous videos, we covered Asana, Pranayama and Mudra and Tattva Vidhi for Mooladhara Chakra. In this video, we will cover the Sthula Vidhi associated to the Devata. So, before we get into the details, we will cover two questions as well as we will look into the self-evaluation part on eligibility for this level. So first, two questions. One of the questions that is quite significant and asked by many is I am more comfortable with cross-leg posture, or I am actually more comfortable with open-eyed meditation. So can I do that rather than going with Vajrasana and doing a closed-eyed meditation? This is a common question that comes. It comes in different scenarios. I take weekend classes for Bhakya Puja based on Kerala Tantra as an external worship based on Kerala Tantra practices. Their questions are like, I studied Guru Vandanam from some other Guru, so can I mix it with the Guru Vandanam from Kerala Tantra while doing the pujas? So what needs to be understood is every system is based on something that has been tested and verified results were found as part of the practice. When you mix and match without understanding the true purpose, then you will not get the results. So ensure that you follow it as it is taught. It is fine if you want to have two practices in parallel, but ensure you don't mix it, which will have issues both in terms of results of both vidyas which are taught. Same is the case whether it is external puja based on Kerala Tantra, internal worship based on Kerala Tantra, or any other Tantra system, or for the yoga vidya that is being taught. So basically deciding whether you want to go with a closed-eyed meditation or a meditation with half open eyes, nasagra drishti, or tip of the nose, or you want to go with fully open-eyed shambhavi, is based on a lot of different factors. It can be based on the devata, it can be based on the chakra, and a lot of things actually contribute in deciding how you need to do the meditation practice, what asana needs to be followed, what pranayama needs to be followed, how you need to actually do it. Okay, so here we are dealing with the Mooladhara Chakra. Mooladhara Chakra is in the Tamo Mandala, and the devatas are also tamasic. So you will, that's the reason while in terms of meditation we are looking at closed-eyed meditation. And Vajrasana we already described very much in detail in terms of why Vajrasana, Indra, how it is related to Vajrayuda, Vajroli. A lot of things were actually discussed in why Vajrasana for Mooladhara. And its use in activating the Mooladhara Chakra, how effective it is. So follow it as it is taught as part of the Vidya. The second question I got as part of which I wanted to discuss is a question which said about, I tried to visualize the square, the yellow square, and I am unable to visualize. So nowhere in the video you are asked to visualize a square which is yellow. It was clearly mentioned that you should not imagine anything. It's not about having your imagination. It should be the tattva which you see. That's why we said about the Shanmukhi Mudra and said about what is the color of tattva that you see. It's not going to be perfectly yellow. It's going to be a combination, anything between the range of yellow and red. So it's yellowish red, orange, or whatever be the color. So we actually talked about the importance of Shanmukhi Mudra, perceiving what is your perception of tattva associated, that's the Prithvi Tattva for Mooladhara Chakra. That's what you will see. It will be different from what someone else sees. So all those things were described, then La was discussed, how Lam needs to be done, how it crystallizes in terms of shape was discussed. So asking a question about I am unable to visualize a square, a yellow square, really does not make sense, because the purpose of Tantra is not imagination, it's experiential, your experience. That's very critical. Okay, so two key questions associated to that. Now, from an eligibility perspective, so how do you actually ensure self-evaluation in terms of eligibility, or when you go to a guru, how does he evaluate you are eligible for the Sthula Vidhi associated to the Devata? Sthula Vidhi, so the guru says, please have a seat, let's meditate. So the person follows the usual process. He does the pranayama, he does the mudras. After that, he does Tattva Vidhi. He says Lam, Lam. He meditates on it. Now the guru will ask, instead of Lam, try not because again will surely vibrate and moves up. So it will ask So the guru tries to analyze if the Shishya is able to identify the origin of the different sound forms, whether the right petals are getting vibrated, and specifically he checks gum and da. So if the Shishya identifies this properly, as in gum, 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 and identifies it associated to the heart or a region around the heart, and if he rightly identifies dum towards the navel, still below, then he is eligible. So he tests whether the Shishya is able to activate the chakras in a Vachika way, with words, with sound forms, whether the Shishya is able to do. So this is the test which tests the eligibility for Sthula Vidhi. Now coming to the lesson part. So earlier, the Shishya was comfortable with moving the sound form, which actually caused vibration in the spine and in the body, with Lam. Now he needs to transition from Vachika to Upamshu and then to Manasa. So the same Lam is now and you will be surprised if you did Lam with sound properly, did the practice with focus. When you transition to spelling out the same Lam or making the same sound but very feeble so that only you can hear it, you will still get the same vibration in the same region. So you will be able to activate it to the same day. Only if you did proper practice at the Vachika level, you will be able to do it in the Upamshu level. After that, it transitions to Manasa. In Manasa, you are going to do Lam along with your Prana. So initially you will use the support of your breath. You can take as long as you are able to do breathing, do it that way, but you use Lam, align it with your breath and then do. So you are doing the japa first associated to breathing, and then you can actually do it without breathing. Without breathing in the sense, before it comes to Kevala Kumbhaka, there is a stage where it is very deep. You don't have to make the sound. Breathing still happens with the word and you will be able to still do the vibration. So similarly, you have to practice for gum and da. Okay. So now coming to the actual practice of it. So the assumption is Now the Shishya is able to practice, whether it is Vachika, Upamshu or Manasa. He is able to activate the petals or understand where the vibration happens even without actually making the sound. Okay. So the Devata. So Devata associated to the Mooladhara. As we mentioned, the Lord is Indra. And we said the Bija is Lam, Prithvi and for Indra. But our specific focus would be based on the Pramana as per my Guru Parampara. It is Mooladhara Padma, Chaturdala, Pita Rekta Varna, Dagini Shakti, Ganapati Deva, Gajavahana. So here the Devata is Ganapati, the Shakti is Dagini. The Bijas for these Devatas is, for Ganapati it is Gam, so it should be Gam, and for Dagini it is Dam. Om Gam Ganapate Nama, Om Dam Dagini Nama. So it's like Dam. Okay. So how you're going to do it is, when you actually take the energy in, now we talk from a prana perspective because it's assumed that Manasa level has been achieved. But you will initially use the support of breath in order to have that felt. Okay. So with Dam, you are going to inhale and you are going to feel it going down. It's not Dam, Dam. So you are going to feel it down. Dam, and then you are going to hold your breath to whatever level you are comfortable, and with Gum you are going to breathe out like so. Important point is the Dam suction. You are going to suck or pull the energy downwards from the navel. Dam. And when you are actually releasing it, it's forcefully pushed up as Gum towards the heart, because there are three lingas: Lingatraya, Jyotirlinga, Banalinga. There are three lingas. There is the Swayambhu Linga, Banalinga and Jyotirlinga. So you are going to push it upwards. There is again another block here. So you are trying to throw the length of what can be achieved with the Swayambhu Linga. That's what the push is. So it's Gum. So you're going to push it upwards. Now this pose is not the appropriate pose for it. So let me show how it needs to be done. So it's a variation of what is also popular in Hatha Yoga for the Mooladhara Chakra. So from practice perspective, again Vajrasana, breathe in as Dam, Dam, breath in, felt here, in the perineum, 1 feet in the perineum. So now first the left feet is in the perineum, okay, and the right one is stretched out, and then hold your breath based on your capacity, and then you will have to stretch breath is held in this pose. And then you return back to Vajrasana and slowly you will inhale out as Gum. Similarly on the other side you will do. So Dam, pull, suction, felt in the navel region. Then while you are actually changing the pose itself, immediately the feet of the right is now in the perineum, left is stretched, and then again you will do the stretch. Come back to Vajrasana and then exhale, feeling the pressure pushed up to the heart region as gum. Third, again you will inhale, down, this time stretch both legs, then hold, based on your comfort level, and then come back and exhale as go. So this needs to be repeated 4 times. So I will show once more. So you have to remember, while inhaling it was down, pressure here, pull down, then you are actually doing hold, and when you come back you are exhaling as go, pressure upwards. Okay, so first on your right, second on your left, then straight, and always hold to your capacity. Okay, and this needs to be repeated 4 times. Okay, so I will do it in one sequence now without dialogue so that you are able to understand it. So this is a very powerful technique. The reason being, if you are having a knot, if you want to actually loosen it, you are trying to loose one side, lose the other side and then pushing the energy in order to move it out. Now initially when you do it, you won't be able to get a perfect stretch if you have not been practicing a lot of stretch exercises. So it takes some time to get the stretch proper. But the effectiveness of this particular technique is to be experienced. So let's say you have been doing Nadi Shuddhi and other techniques, and when you start doing this technique, initially you are not going to see the effects. But once you are doing the perfect stretch and you are able to hold your breath, since you are doing Nadi Shuddhi, the hold will be at least now like 12:48:24. So at least for a 48 count, you will be able to do the hold. And surprisingly, you will find that within a week's time itself, you will be able to, once you are doing it in the proper way, proper hold, proper stretch, within a week's time, you can actually feel the energy surge upwards. So, as in the entry of prana from a Sushumna Nadi perspective. So it's a very effective technique in terms of doing the practice of Muladhara Chakra, and should be considered very seriously. Now, from a Devata perspective, both Ganapati and Dagini are considered doorkeepers for Muladhara Chakra. So, doorkeepers as in they actually are associated to the Grandhi or the Brahma Grandhi. Brahma Grandhi, at least in my system, is on the bottom. There are other systems where they have a different way in which Brahma Grandhi, Vishnu Grandhi and Rudra Grandhi is ordered. But Brahma Grandhi, as in the bottom, is governed by the doorkeepers for the Muladhara Chakra is Ganapati and Dagini. So using their Vidya or their Bijaksharas along with the practice which I showed will actually loosen the Grandhi, and it will actually do a Grandhi Bhedanam in order to ensure that when the Kundalini awakens and it rushes up, there is no blocks and you are able to have proper Kundalini awakening as well as movement upwards. So while you are initial practices, while you are doing the hold, you actually can visualize the Muladhara where the Tattva can be visualized. But it's more ideal to visualize the Devatas if it is possible. So visualizing the Devatas, as in when you are holding it, if you are able to feel like or imagine the image. So imagination here comes as an add-on, not a requirement, because you are, from a yoga perspective, it's not really imagination. You are actually doing the Vidya in order to loosen it with the Bija. But if you have since it's the Stula Vidhi as in the gross Vidhi, if you want to actually associate with the Devata, the image form of Ganapati has a Pasha and Angusha, which is a rope corresponding to binding the senses, okay, and an elephant goud or an elephant hook, which is in terms of taming the mind. So you are able to bring the focus, you are able to bind your senses, corresponding to Pasha and Angusha and Abhaya Varada Mudra. And as you are already aware, the yellowish red complexion associated to the Tattva and the chakras. So it's like the rising sun. The Ganapati's appearance is like the rising sun. So Pasha, Angusha, Varada, Abhaya is what is followed in my system. As well as Dagini. Dagini is associated to Muladhara in my system. There are other systems where Dagini is looked upon as more whitish in nature at a higher chakra. But in my system, Dagini is associated to Muladhara. She is also of reddish yellow or pink or whatever is the shade between this range of the rising sun kind of. The early morning sun complexion is what is Ganapati as well as Dagini will have. Dagini will have a sword and a shield, as in like cutting all the obstacles of the sadhaka in order to ensure progress, and shield of protection, along with the Abhaya Varada, which is like blessing and safety from the practice. So that is the Sthula Rupa of the Devata, but focus on the Bijas and the specific practice that was discussed. Now since it is Brahma Granthi, Brahma is also said to be associated to Mooladhara, but not in my system. In my system there are more chakras rather than the Shadadhara chakra. In between the Manipura and Mooladhara itself, you have the Kama chakra, there is a Riddhi chakra, there is the Garbha chakra, and all this in addition to the Swadhisthana chakra. So, in which Brahma is given a separate place, but probably based on the Brahma Granthi, Brahma is also at times specified as associated to the Mooladhara chakra. So, we covered Indra, we covered Vahana in the previous talk. Here we actually discussed about the Devata and Shakti, Ganapati and Dagini, and we specifically told about how to practice the Granthi Hedana, or how to loosen the knot and then break it in order to have the energy surge upwards. So hope you have a happy and healthy life with Tantra Yoga.